of Mexico, where we took the horses we stole. There's Sonora in the California mines where you gringos dig for gold.
Welcome back, all of my loyal subscribers, fans, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. Wasn't that a great video? In this video today, I'm going to talk to you about how Dave Stamey is the king of cowboy country. Contrary to popular belief, George Strait is not the only king. Dave Stamey, he is basically the quintessential Western artist. And if you stay tuned, you're going to find out why. So, without further ado, here's another Dave Stamey clip.
Nearest town's 40 miles. The cook here, he don't smile. And all these young horses are right. But come a tire, yippee-yi-oh, on the back of my caballo. I hope that I won't on when I can. My spurs, they don't ring much. I never did sing much, but I'm a sure enough buckaroo man.
From Dave Stamey's #1 song, Buckaroo Man. He describes his journey as a buckaroo and a lot of buckaroos, basically what they experience. This is one of the reasons why Dave Stamey is the king. He takes real life experiences from the cowboy culture and tradition that we know, and he turns them into song. No other Western artist does this outside of the cowboy country. Dave Stamey also has extremely good audience interaction. In the next video, I want you to see how he gets his audience involved most of the time. Let's jump in.
And round. Now when I do that, I want you guys to shout back at me, spinning like this. Round and round, spinning and round, try it. Round and round, spinning and round, trying not to do that. He changed direction and spinning some more round and round, spinning and round, one more time, round and round, spinning and round. I heard that.
The way Mr. Stamey engaged with his audience, telling his audience to say, spin him after he said round and round, is something that I haven't seen from a lot of Western artists. This is one of the reasons why he is the king of Western cowboy country. But just because you have audience interaction does not make you the king. So I'm going to let some of Dave Stamey's songs speak for themselves. Just going to combine 3 of them, and I want you all to focus on the clarity of voice and the richness that he brings to the table every time he sings. Let's jump in.
Out on 12 Mile Road, Lord, it turns so slow, hanging on to a ragged dream. Out on 12 Mile Road. And one night I had to fly. I got into a foolish gambling fight. I had to say a swift goodbye in that black, unlucky night.
Todavía estoy aquí, I am still here. Todavía estoy aquí, my soul is dancing in the moonlight. I mingle with each grain of sand in the land that is my birthright. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí.
Those 3 songs by Dave Stamey are some of his most excellent songs. If you were paying attention, you would have saw that, like I told you to look for, his clarity of voice and his richness were off the hook. It's unlike a lot of artists nowadays who overly rely upon bass, etc. Another thing that Dave Stamey is really good at is his guitar work. He is one of the only Western artists that I know who can really shred on that guitar. He switches between Spanish and Anglo guitar styles. Not a lot of Western artists can do this, and no offense to George Strait, but Dave Stamey does have better guitar work than he does. Dave Stamey also speaks in Spanish. As you saw in the last video, he was singing his second most popular song, the Vaquero song, where he sings the chorus in Spanish, saying, "Todavía estoy aquí, I am still here." He's singing about the history of Spanish California. But Dave Stamey, regardless of him being the king of cowboy country, it doesn't mean he isn't a humble guy. Let's watch some of his interviews and see how humble this man truly is, truly making him a king.
My job is to travel around and show people the West in all the different ways that there is a West. My job didn't exist until I invented it, but that's what I do. Before I was doing this, I was packing mules for outfitters in the eastern Sierra, Nevada, and just riding up through the mountains. When I was working for the outfitters, my wife suggested that I take my guitar and play for the folks around the campfire, and they haven't let me quit since, and that was 11 albums ago.
Unlike a lot of Western artists today, Dave Stamey actually did the work that he talks about in his songs. He is actually a buckaroo outfitter type person. The songs that he sings, he's not just singing from someone else's perspective, but he's singing about what he knows to be true. This is contrary to people like Brad Paisley, Kane Brown, just name basically any of the modern day country artists, and you're not going to find another Dave Stamey until you dive deep into cowboy music. Darren Little's one of them. There's some other guys, I forget their names right now. Brent Hill. Just go to Elko Poetry Gathering and you'll see. But Dave Stamey, one of the other aspects that he has, so he's a really homey guy. During the pandemic, he sent out a lot of the music that he was creating to YouTube for free via his front porch. Let's watch one of those clips now.
Well, I wanna be wild again, the way I used to be. I wanna taste the morning air as I go running free. I wanna take that lonesome trail, find out where it bends. This world's too tame. I wanna be wild again.
As you saw in that video, Dave Stamey is a humble guy. He is willing to make music even when he doesn't have a big crowd, like somebody like George Strait. The next thing that makes Dave Stamey the king of cowboy country is his incorporation of history. He talks about history before almost every song, and his songs discuss history in themselves. So, without further ado, let's hear him regale us with one of his historical stories prior to one of his songs.
Think Lonesome Dove, that's the historical framework that we're talking about. After the Indian problem had been dealt with in the late 1870s, that country all opened up there. The only problem with having a lot of Texas cattle coming into your part of the country is the fact that in many cases they are accompanied by Texans. We're still dealing with that in some parts of Montana.
There you have it, folks. Dave Stamey is the king of cowboy country. In the last video, you just saw that he uses historical stories and works within his songs. His voice is rich and clear. He is a humble person, unlike a lot of country artists today. And Dave Stamey performs almost all of his songs live constantly. He doesn't sound bad live. Sometimes he sounds better. And if I haven't sold you yet, just know that Dave Stamey is very well respected within the cowboy community, and pretty much every cowboy listens to him because he is the king. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. If you don't, I don't care. Have a great day.
Steam in the breath and ice in the cold. The snow beneath my boots were glitter sweet. All the bones of the buffalo buried so deep. Montana.